Prem Pals is back with a special edition North London Derby preview. It's not just me and Sean today. We've got a third member of our crew with one of the ugliest shirts I've ever seen, Ben Tarver.
What's going on, guys? And I like to think that this is actually one of the most beautiful shirts I've ever seen. Last year's kit was.
Would you say he's gunning for you, Alex?
I'd say he's gunning for me a little bit. If you can't tell, Ben is
punny right out the gate.
Ben is an Arsenal fan, and we're here to do a try not to get into an argument, physical virtual fight, North London Derby preview. Sean is going to be the, making sure we stay civil guy in between. The mediator.
No cap. Welcome to this special episode of Prem Pals, everyone.
Exactly.
Should I use that voice throughout the deal?
More of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to start. We did this on an episode before, but I wanted to paint a little verbal Bob Ross, if you will. So I'm going to paint a picture of words of kind of how I think that Saturday's going to go. So, we know entering, we have a terrible record at Arsenal, right? And we know with our current form, our new manager, we're going to come out attacking. I think we come out attacking. We score an early goal. Arteta, you know what he decides to do? We got to equalize. And he really puts his foot on the gas, which opens up an opportunity for us to score again. We enter halftime with a 4-0 lead against Arsenal. And in the second half, a Sonny brace ends this game 6-0. Arteta, swimming in a pool of tears, gets axed from... No, I took it too far. All right, we'll just do 6-0 victory. That's what I'm seeing. What do you think? Can you live in my head? What do you think, Ben?
6-0. I would be surprised to see Spurs get out of Emirates with a draw on Sunday.
Fair.
But I could see this being a game that Spurs maybe steal. I could see it like, it doesn't matter form. The North London Derby does not, it doesn't consider form, right? And there have been games in the past where Arsenal have been shit, but they win home and away against Spurs, right? And that's all we can take from the season. And then there have been other seasons where Arsenal are just rolling. And then all of a sudden they play Tottenham away or Tottenham at home and something happens. So,
it feels open, and I don't think form is going to matter. The occasion is just sort of different every time these teams play. But before we get into predictions of the game, I do have a neutral question for you, Sean.
Yes.
If you had to, nothing against your father in any way, but if you had to replace your father with Ange Postecoglou or Mikel Arteta, who are you choosing to be your daddy?
I mean, I say Ange because I'd love to have that. I'd love to have the accent. All right, this. It's all material things, the reasons, obviously, but I love the accent. It'd be cool to have that. He seems like he's pretty confident. Also, the Arteta. Just sometimes not seeing him on the touchline, it makes it hard for me because I feel like I'd be a little bit embarrassed to be that dad on the sideline that the rest of the kids are kind of poking fun at you like, man, he's over dramatic, but it's because of his culture and my dad being Guatemalan, I felt that, but he was also my coach, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to say that I wouldn't want Arteta.
Yeah,
but if I could have Arteta's mentality and Ange's likableness,
big cuddliness.
Yeah, put that into one probably.
I mean, Arteta would be the dad listening to this podcast through the door and then screaming like, "Sean, that comment was stupid." You know what I mean? Like he's an intense dude. I mean, great manager. Don't get me wrong, but he kind of scares me a little bit. Does he give you that vibe of like authoritarian dictator a little bit?
Arteta?
Yeah.
No, like
no,
not in that sense. I mean, I'm glad that it's worked out for him in Arsenal, and the players respect him that way because we don't see him on the training ground, very much. You don't see a lot of these managers' personalities. So, but I don't see him as like threatening. I hate that he's a thorn in the side now because he's actually starting to produce. And kudos to Arsenal for giving him the couple of seasons instead of axing him, like the rinse repeat that everyone's going through. I mean,
what year is he on now, Ben? 5, 4?
5. Yeah, he came in 2019, 18.
I mean, shit, it paid off. If he was fired after 3 seasons, like, God, that would have been a mistake, huh?
And it takes a lot to hold on to something like that, like to go and talk to the higher ups. I mean, because they're a Kroenke. Look, they don't invest anything right into the team here. The Rapids. And I'm seeing people go to the match last night, and on my phone getting the pings, and it's horrible news. And people are there with Kroenke out T-shirts and everything like that. So
spending all his money on Arsenal.
They're taking this seriously. Yeah. So can't really argue with that and letting the system work out.
In the spirit of the North London Derby and big games, Ben, do you have any weird traditions? Let's say the night before or during the game, it's something you wear, it's something you drink. You have any weird traditions for the North London Derby or big games in general?
Yeah, I don't actually wear my shirt for the match. I'm very superstitious.
Like no shirt at all? Like topless?
Yeah, I just go. Yeah, no, I don't wear anything Arsenal related. Except for I will wear. So same thing with the U.S. national team. I'll wear the kit before, like the night before. So I'll wear it to bed, or wear it in the morning. But once the match actually starts, I don't wear anything that has to do with the actual club.
Respect. It's like going to a concert and not wearing, your Guns N' Roses t-shirts or Guns N' Roses.
You can't listen to Guns N' Roses on the way to a Guns N' Roses concert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But you're definitely listening to it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I have the exact. So I've mentioned this on a previous pod, and I'm actually wearing it right now, which is probably a bad decision. But this Cuti Romero kit, third kit from last year, I have worn every single match this year without washing it. And we haven't won, including last match against Sheffield United. I was wearing a different kit, and in the 70th minute, I changed into this kit, and then we came back. So I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with Ange. It has nothing to do with our form. It's me. So if you guys can help me convince my wife to not let me wash this for the rest of the season, I think that we will break the Invincibles record. But I don't know if she'll let me because it's starting to smell. So
yeah, I'm not gonna have to tell Frida to do it. Arsenal will tell Frida to.
Oh God, I hope not.
And it's better than not changing your underwear. Those are gross traditions. There's people that do that, and that's disgusting. But also, you have an infant around there. You can't be exposing them to those type of germs.
That's good.
No, she's gonna get pink eye.
At least.
Maybe I should change it, but I'm not going to for this weekend. So we'll see. Definitely not washing it tonight.
Sorry, baby. You got to keep the baby away from me.
Yeah, keep her away. I can't babysit. I'm sorry. I got to wear this. Best North London Derby memory. I think I'm probably biased, and I'm sure Sean, you have a different opinion. But I think that the best rivalry match in England is the North London Derby. I think there's been some spicy derbies, even though Arsenal, in recent history, we've been, I think on par, maybe even a little better. It's been up and down, but in longer history, Arsenal far dominated us, and we were sort of like West Ham is our sort of other rival, but they're West Ham and we don't care. I think we were a little bit of that. But I think it's spicy. You've got some really good derbies between the two teams. I think it's one of the best derbies, if not the best in England. What's your best memory of North London Derby, Ben?
I have two. Obviously, when we won the league at Shite Hart Lane, and that was actually the year that I was really watching Arsenal, right? But everyone's going to say that, Thierry Henry, those memories. No, Thierry Henry is actually not even one of my favorite players, or my favorite player. My favorite North London Derby memory is the game. It was actually an FA Cup third round match.
Okay.
Back in 2014, I believe, and Theo Walcott was getting stretchered off injured.
Oh
I think
God,
he had just torn his ACL or
I remember.
yeah, and he was getting it from the away fans. I mean, he was getting it.
Pelted with
Bottles,
coins.
coins, getting just abused. And he goes to the away fan section. It's like just shows up the score 2-0 to the Arsenal as he's getting
I
stretchered off.
always hated Theo Walcott, and that's why I was happy his career never really panned out. Same with Jack Wilshere. But God, those derbies were spicy back then, and those two players always gave it. But oh, I remember that vividly. I mean, he was injured, being stretchered off, gave the score, and just got pelted with coins and kept doing it. I miss that. I feel like that in modern football, players just can't get away with acting like that anymore. There's too much like, social media and getting called out and fined. You just don't see the spicy, like the Adebayor when he, did that knee slide against Arsenal. You just don't see that anymore, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
You kind of saw it last year with Ramsdale. He was kind of in the fans' face. In fact, one of them actually came out of their seats and like kicked him or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Ramsdale, he really likes to try and put on the show.
Yeah, he's a performer. He's a theatrical one.
Do you think that Raya has a chance at starting?
Not on Sunday, no.
Huh?
Not on Sunday.
I think it would be a bold decision to change goalkeepers for this match in particular, but I don't even understand why you guys bought Raya. I didn't think Ramsdale was the issue. I think that's pretty harsh on him, but we'll see.
I mean, Arteta's come out and said it. It's only because of Champions League. We're playing more top-notch matches. We need to have more top-notch players, including the keeper.
So would you consider that an insult, Alex, if they do start Raya? Like it's almost like
they're like, "Oh, this is an easy one."
Yeah.
Yes. No. I mean, I don't.
Yeah?
I mean, Raya was what, like 45 mil?
I would put Raya probably in the top 3 goalkeepers right now.
Yeah, yeah. And coming off of a Champions League win, and you're worrying about the season. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's not like you guys are Luton Town or anything, but it would be pretty.
Whoa, it's not like we're Man United.
It'd be pretty. You rest on your laurels there, It's like, but it'd be pretty bold in the sense of putting out a keeper that's trying to make a name for himself against you guys.
True. That would be absolutely bold, but I can't see it. We'll get into some direct player stuff in a second. I just want to take my favorite North London derby. It's too bad because we ended up drawing this game, but I'm sure you guys remember his 2015-2016 season. Ball was heading up the left side. Dele Alli barely kept the ball in. Pass back to Kane. Kane takes an outside of the left side of the box curler into the side netting. He had a mask at the time because he had broken his nose or his cheekbone and just went ballistic running across the pitch, ripping the mask off, throwing it down. We went up 2-1 then, and so I thought we were going to win the game. That was a time when Arsenal was, we were pretty even. And God, I remember I was in a bar in Atlanta, Georgia. I was visiting a friend over there, and it was like an Atlanta Spurs bar, super random, but it just went off and like, I don't know. Some of those goals, it depends on where you are, right? Like if you're home sitting on your couch and something happens and you're just screaming at the walls, it's one thing. But when you're actually like in a bar around other Spurs fans or you're in the grounds, it's so much better. That memory, whenever I think of North London Derby, I just see Kane ripping the mask off and just screaming and running. So that's probably my favorite.
I remember that. That was such a tight angle too. Such a weird angle that he shot from.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. Let's get into a preview. Let's talk about some of the nitty gritty of this game.
Yeah. Since you guys can't agree on your favorite memories and who's got the better kit and who's better in North London, I wonder if you guys could try and find a way to agree on a combined 11. I'm gonna let each of you pick your combined 11. Let's see if the other one would tick that box.
Okay, so combined 11 of current Arsenal and Spurs players.
Correct.
All right.
Current.
I'll let you
let's not go way back.
Yeah, I'll let you go first, Ben. What you got?
I mean, what kind of formation are we playing? Because like Listen, the only players from Tottenham that I would actually consider having on a combined 11 are in the midfield, right? Richarlison's garbage, and finally had a goal for Tottenham last Saturday. So I'm not going to pick Richarlison. I think Son in the mid, like maybe on the left,
on the wing, yeah,
and Madison somewhere in the mid. Gabriel Jesus up front, obviously. Odegaard in the middle. I will sacrifice Rice for Madison. Maybe Basuma. You do make a good case on Basuma there. So, but we're starting to kind of get up there with midfielders now. And then Saka. Saka has to be in there on the right.
Yeah, that's fair.
And as far as defense goes, I'm sorry. Maybe Van de Ven, was his name Van de Ven? Just because he's new and I don't know him very well, but like Dyer, are you kidding me? I'm not putting him on my squad. Romero is going to get a red card within 10 minutes. I mean, Gabriel Saliba can do no wrong right now, and Ben White. Okay, I would actually maybe put Ben White on the bench and put like Van de Ven in there or something like that.
All right, what about goalkeeper?
Ramsdale. Who even is your keeper now? I don't even know his name.
He's the best. Okay, so I'm gonna go position by position for you. I think no question the best statistical goalkeeper in the league right now is Vicario. In terms of saves and everything, he's the best keeper. I think he's better than Raya and Ramsdale. In terms of defense, I think I've said this over and over. I think Udogi's 3 years from going to Real Madrid. He's been incredible this year. I think he's the best left back in the league already. Center backs, Saliba gets in for sure. I think Cuti Romero is, God's son, and Sean knows that. I mean, Lionel Messi said he's the best center back in the world. I think Cuti Romero is hands down in that team. So I would put left back Udogi. I'd put my two center backs, Saliba and Romero. And right back, I'd actually put Pedro Porro, just because Ben White's decent, but he's a center back playing out of position. And I think Pedro Porro has been really good. In terms of midfield, going up to like that number 6, Declan Rice for West Ham was one player. He's so new in Arsenal. Basuma is our best player this season. I think Basuma gets in over Declan Rice for now. Who knows where Declan Rice will be by the end of the year, but I don't think Declan Rice is quite there yet. In terms of more attacking midfielders, like number 8 moving up, I think it's definitely Odegaard. Odegaard's got to get in there as well as Madison.
All day.
Yeah, those two, they play kind of similar in a way, but you can't overlook either of them. So my midfield 3 would be Basuma, Madison, and then Odegaard. Out on the wings, left wing, you got to put Sonny out there. Right wing, it's Saka all day. I agree on striker. I really don't think Gabriel Jesus is all that, but I don't think Richarlison is in either. If I could change it around, like we've been playing Son as striker, if I could play Son as our striker, I would actually maybe have Martinelli out on the left wing. I mean, we don't really have a great left winger right now. Perisic just tore his ACL. He's out for the season. We got this new guy, Brennan Johnson, who's untested, this new Israeli Solomon. I would probably say striker is Son, right wing is Saka, and Martinelli on the left. So I would only have 4 Arsenal players in there, which would be Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Saliba. It's a little different, but I think we agree on some things there.
Watch Declan Rice get man of the match, and we both leave him out of our squad.
Yeah, it's possible. You never know. I mean, he's a good player. We saw him for West Ham, and honestly, like as an avid England fan, Declan Rice is so crucial to the England team that going into the Euros this next year, we need him to have a good season with Arsenal. I don't want him to have a good season with Arsenal. I want you guys to capitulate and get relegated, but it is what it is.
Fair.
I mean, you both made some sense there. I'd go strongly, probably more with Ben's picks, a little bit more so, but obviously you and Alex have been able to play a little table tennis with your defense and how in love you are with a couple of those guys, and I just simply don't see it. Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting to see them against some real competition. So we'll have to wait to see how that all pans out, and then I'm sure you will reassess some of those decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who are you been the most afraid of? Like, if you had to choose one player on Saturday that really is going to keep you up at night, you're gonna, I guess you sleep in your Arsenal jersey and you take it off before the game, so it's gonna, scare the pee out of you. Who is
Yeah,
it?
if I'm gonna have nightmares and sweat in my Arsenal shirt the night before, James Madison has a really good record against Arsenal. When he played for Leicester, he's usually the one scoring against Arsenal. So Madison has always kind of like been the thorn in my side. But I also am very afraid of Kulusevski. I think he's a great player, and he just goes right at you, which Gabriel cannot handle very well. So
Yeah.
those are the two that really stand out. Son in the past, I have been afraid of, but he doesn't have his Batman sidekick, so I'm not as afraid, and he's not having a great year. He's playing out of position, and he's kind of finding himself again, I think. But
yeah. No, I think
Madison and Kulu.
I think that's fair. And I think it's honestly easier. I like that you said Kulusevski because I do think he's a bit underrated. He wasn't that great in the beginning of the year, but he had that clutch Black Mamba goal at the end of the Sheffield United games. That was great. I think it's easier. There's two Arsenal players that I think are, heads and shoulders above the rest of the team, and that's going to be Odegaard and Saka. How do you hate Saka? I think it's impossible to hate Saka. I hate Arsenal with every fiber of my being, but I still like Saka. He's just such a likable guy. He's great for England. And to be fair, Odegaard's been excellent since he came there. So those two, I think, are the biggest risk to us, especially with Saka, because we have two attacking fullbacks. I mean, Udogie and Pedro Porro are traditionally playing in a back five. That's what they've been used to. They're more attacking. They're not great. I don't want to say they're not great defenders, but they're more attackers than defenders. So if you have Saka bearing down on you and you're not a great defender, you might be in trouble. So I think that's the two things that I would say I'm the most worried about.
I think if I were you, I would be a little bit more worried about Trossard than Saka. And here's why. If you're going to go back to your left back, who you chose in your starting 11,
yeah,
he might have Saka in his pocket on Sunday.
Yeah,
right? I think distribution is going to go a different way. And Trossard has been a hell of a signing for Arsenal this year. Scored a banger of a goal yesterday.
Where is he traditionally playing? So is Trossard an out-and-out winger that rotates with our Martinelli and Saka, or does he play?
Is he a false 10?
He's playing kind of a false 9.
Yeah. Okay.
If Gabriel Jesus doesn't start as a 9, right? So they kind of did a weird lineup yesterday against PSV in Champions League, but he was kind of playing like a free, like almost like an Ozil, like a free roam mid.
Interesting. Okay, so Odegaard is like dangerous. Feeding him type thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was kind of wondering how you guys are going to set up with that Martinelli injury.
Oh, Martinelli's out. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, he went out that last Premier League game, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So is he out? Did he play yesterday? No.
No. I don't even think he was on the bench yesterday. I don't think he's expected to play this Sunday either.
Which could hurt or benefit, because now you can't read that lineup as easily and try to lock people down. So it is kind of scary for that defense. And I think he called it. I think I see Romero getting frustrated with Saka and Trossard in the middle and getting that card. And if that happens on early,
I mean, that's always a worry. He's he's quite literally a psychopath, and he can do crazy stuff, but he's been more in line this year. He's taken the assistant captain role. I think he's going to shut you down, but we'll see.
If he gets a card and gets pulled off, you guys are in dire straits.
Oh, yeah. We have no backups. I mean, you mentioned Dyer, like Eric Dyer would be straight in, right? There's no one else really. We've got Ashley Phillips, a new 18-year-old center back, and Ben Davies, who is actually left back but plays center back. We have no depth at center back position whatsoever. So a red card from Romero and it's over. Or Van de Ven, either of those guys, and we're toast. So
injuries and cards, same with us. It's just our depth is just so thin. So it changes your whole season really quickly when things like that just accumulate. Well, I mean, I definitely like where you guys are coming from with both your combined starting 11 and your fear of each other's power players. Here's a hypothetical though, like for both. If you guys were able to have a drunken big night out with two players from the opposite team. So Ben, you get to pick two, Tottenham, vice versa for Alex. Who would they be and why?
All right. I think for me, if I'm gonna have a big night out with two Arsenal players and I have to get along with them, we're gonna have to get lit, tuned up. I have a feeling Ramsdale gets sloppy drunk and is fun as hell. So I think Ramsdale would be my first pick. And I kind of feel like Ben White is sort of like a lad as well, tatted up, British, get out on the lash, lads type guy. So I think it would be a sloppy little night with Ramsdale and White. And I think as long as we avoided talking about soccer, I think we'd have quite a nice little time.
Ben White having you help him apply his bronzer.
Yeah.
By the third or fourth
Ben
shot.
can. Yeah, for sure.
Applying lotion to Ben White. I mean, to me, a perfect night out would be drinking and applying lotion all over Ben White. That sounds.
He's a good looking fella. He is a good looking chap.
Yeah, there's also that. He's a good looking guy.
He's got the who's that singer? Well, he's got the charm. He's got the nice little cross.
Got the tattoos in all the right places.
Yeah. For me, say go ahead.
Said okay. You guys are falling in love here. I like it.
Right?
You guys are gonna be, someone's gonna be switching sides here before we know it. I mean, the football teams, anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Moving along.
We'll see.
I think for me, Madison seems like a good night out. He seems like one of those British lads, just kind of like Ramsdale and Ben White. I've actually watched a few streams with him during the COVID times where everyone was on Zoom and he was doing like FIFA tournaments and stuff with other teammates. So I think Madison's a good time. And then Son, it's hard to not like the guy. I don't even think he drinks.
That's what I was gonna say.
No.
What would you do with them without?
I bet he doesn't drink. I'm
being
sure.
culturally insensitive, but what would you go out and do with Son? I wonder what his hobby.
Well, here's why I'd have him come out. Like maybe we say hi and we laugh while we're sober, and then once we get drunk, he's the designated drunk.
I knew that was going. He'd be a great designated.
Yeah. He would offer that immediately. Like as you're meeting, he's like, let me do you.
He's like a famous millionaire football player, but he'd like hold Ben's head back if he got sick and was throwing up. Like he's that guy,
wasn't he at a fashion show with Sokka recently? Like that.
Oh yeah, they're both Burberry models.
Yeah. Son's jacket was pretty fire. He took some risks there. I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm a fashion guy. And
he's like, Son is one of the biggest celebrities in his country in South Korea.
Sure.
And he does so much underwear modeling, which is hilarious, but dude's got a nice bod. He kills it, man. I love him. I wish he was.
You
my
have a
best friend.
poster of that? Is that why you don't have a background? Like open up those cabinet doors in the back. Mm-hmm. What are you hiding here?
I can't. No.
Oh my goodness! If your wife finds out,
she knows. She's cool with it.
That's why she's in. She knows your sensitive side.
That was one of the things. Like you got to be okay with my obsession with having a half-naked Korean man in the inside of my closet. Yeah. So
all right. And as we fast forward again to all you listening, stay sensitive out there. Stay woke. Let's move. Okay, let's talk about expected lineups then. Who are you thinking? Let's start off with Ben this time. What do you got, buddy?
Okay, so I think Ramsdale is back in goal. He's got something to prove. This is a good game to prove it on. I think he's going to be chirpy back there. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, back four. Especially with Kieran Tierney out. I think Kieran Tierney, these are the games that we liked to have him as left back. That Scottish attitude. But yeah, those are my back four. We got Rice, Odegaard, Trossard in the middle. I don't think Havertz actually starts tomorrow. I think we might make a substitution. We might have Fabio Vieira in there actually. So again, Rice, Odegaard, Vieira, and Trossard in the middle. And Jesus and Saka. Saka's going to be playing that a free roam right mid for me. So yeah,
I could see that. Makes sense.
Gonna cause some trouble.
Yeah,
Into
I think for
Alex.
Spurs, it doesn't change from last match. We've got our classic Vicario, we've got Pedro Porro and Udogie as our fullbacks, Van de Ven Romero, we've got Basuma in the pivot, number 6 role. We've got, our little Senegalese star boy, Sarr, center midfielder, more box-to-box role. We've got Madison attacking midfielder, Sonny up top at striker, right wing Kulusevski, left wing Solomon. The only possible change is, Richarlison did win the game for us last weekend. He scored and he assisted for us to win in that game. He's a bit of a vibes guy. It would be a bold move for Ange to do this, but maybe Richarlison starts and Son starts on the left wing instead. I think Manor Solomon is probably our weakest link in attack, but I personally wouldn't do that. I think Richarlison's better coming off the bench. So
yeah, I don't know if that'd be a smart tactic to go with your gut and your heart in the way that the old school vibe of you can't just pull players just because they're they won a match before, so they should obviously start the next match. You have to be tactical because you guys had a great start to the season, and if you want to continue that, you have to make those smart tactical choices. So I think it'd be a bit, but watch us see Richarlison out there smiling, grinning.
Yeah, Richarlison he gets a lot of shit and he can be really bad, but he can also be good. You never know which Richarlison you're getting. If you get the Brazil version, that guy's great. But the problem is if you get the recent Tottenham version, it's not the same. But I said this on the last pod and I truly stand by it. If we keep with our same momentum and coming out and just go for the throat of Arsenal right out the gates, I think this is going to be a really interesting game and it's going to be very close. If we play the occasion and maybe soak up a little pressure, don't attack as much, we're going to get slaughtered. You guys are going to absolutely take it to us. So I really hope that Ange doesn't be like, oh, it's our first North London derby. It's Arsenal. They're in great form. Let's play a little bit more defensive. We're fucked. I think if we come out and really attack you, get an early goal, this game's could be really interesting. And I think it's going to be hard on my heart rate, but we'll see.
Yeah. Welcome to that. I just went through that yesterday. Had to turn it off for a second, take a breather, get some oxygen.
Let's talk about Champions League in a second, but before we do, let's all three of us go through and give our score predictions for Saturday's North London derby. Sean, as a neutral, let's start with you and then go to you, Ben, and I'll follow it up.
Okay. Popular opinion, easy way out would be a 2-1, 3-2 Arsenal win. But the pendulum is swinging and, everyone's dealing with their injuries and movements. And as long as you guys don't get, Romero doesn't get a card or the lineup is incorrect, I could see possibly pulling out a draw, a smash and grab like you did last week. It's not Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday. As we mentioned, it could be the same team. So it's going to be the stakes going to be higher. The pressure is going to be a lot more. So I say either Arsenal pull it off just because due to squad depth as well as talent. And like I said, those unsure floating positions up top could really cause some problems. I say they pull it off. But if you guys get to a point to where you've got the draw and you sit back and park the bus, you could pull that off. And then a counterattack, you never know. But I say Arsenal win 2-1, 3-2, or a draw.
Okay, not loving any of that. What about you, Ben?
I guess it's the easy way out, but I'm going to say 2-1. I actually think that Tottenham come out first and swing and get a gut punch, come up 1-0 early at home, the Emirates behind them. They wake up, they come back to 2-1.
2-1 Arsenal.
Arsenal.
All right, I'm going to go with 4-2 Spurs. 4-2. It's going to be a goal fest. It's going to be one where the entire thing is back forth, lots of, potential shots off the crossbar, off the post, just fucking relentlessness. And we're not enjoying any of it. It's not a game that we enjoy. We hate it because it's constantly back and forth, lots of goals, but we get 2 cheeky goals around stoppage time. So it's pretty even. It's 2-2, and then we just come out and poke 2 more in. So 4-2, and that will make my weekend. I will have a fantastic weekend this weekend if that's the case. Even a draw. I mean, we're in a position where I feel like we're the underdogs, even though we're in good form. You guys are years ahead in your planning. You're 5 years in with your manager. We're brand new. So I think the expectation's lower. If we lose, it's not the end of the world. In terms of our development, it's losing a derby and it's going to hurt and it's going to sting, but like we could lose this game and it's not the end of the world. We got a brand new manager. So I do think you guys have more pressure and that helps us a bit. But I am fucking stoked. So I am not washing this jersey. I don't care what it smells like. Let's fucking go.
It's going to be a fun watch, regardless of opinions and lineups
7
and everything.
a.m.
It's going to be a fun watch. So yeah, we don't go on until 1 p.m. on Saturday, which is nice because I just need a moment to watch other people play before I wake up and deal with Burnley trying to put it on us too.
Well, let's just briefly talk about Champions League. I mean, I was watching. So to be fair, I turned off the game when Bayern were winning. I had a meeting, so I think it was Bayern were up 2-0. And I was like, I'm not even going to text Sean. He's probably just crying himself to sleep, like in the fetal position on the floor, like he usually is. But holy shit, when I saw the score line, I mean, I guess, it was never really in doubt. But at the same time, that's a respectable line of, score line. But were you happy with the performance? I mean, both those last 2 goals were a little sloppy. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, happy with the performance? Obviously not. I mean, Onana had an absolute blinder.
Shocker,
yeah. And it was, it's something you don't want to see this early on, and you're trying to put faith in, in the keeper and hopefully the system. But we talked about earlier on that day about, the late winners that you think about. And we talked about Champions League 99 against Bayern at Camp Nou. And so one of the reasons, and I know you don't like, but when people sit back and on history and the things that they've done in their past, but I think a lot of people actually enjoyed that result more because it does resemble something big like that happened in 99, even though it wasn't the final. It's against one of the only contenders probably to contend against City. And we'll see how Arsenal does in the next stages. But, if you were going into this, you didn't know Arsenal's in it, you always think, Bayern, City, if they're in that, they're going to be there. And City's obviously outshined them a couple in the last couple of years. But I think a lot of people accepted that result more because you're just like, oh, my God, 91st minute or 89th minute, 94th minute, Casemiro's getting a brace. You're just like, and we were just discussing how Casemiro's not been having an amazing season as of yet. And now he's our top scorer. Everyone else is sitting on one. Rashford, they're all sitting on one. Yeah. And so I think that's why people are kind of in their head, like, could have been worse, could have been 8-6, 8-0, and it could have been worse. So I think that you kind of look at the positives in a scenario where we're in really, really bad spot, injury ridden. And I think that will change things quite a bit, is that we have so many injuries that people haven't seen our full,
potential,
starting 11. Not saying that it's going to work. We don't know if Amberbat's going to be amazing and if he's going to fit that defensive role. We'll have to see how that all pans out. But we do have some light there, and hopefully, some other YouTubers and pundits and stuff are saying that maybe United's season starts on Saturday against Burnley. We've got a lot of people coming back. We still haven't figured out where Mount fits. So
it'll be telling.
All in
if
all,
you guys lose that game to Burnley, I think the narrative is drastically shift. I mean, I think a 4-3 loss to Bayern is very admirable. I think any team would be like, all right, it's fucking Bayern with Harry Kane. Arsenal.
Yeah, but getting 3 goals scored on you back to back 3 times in a row. Like, I mean, the statistics, the memes are writing themselves at this point. you can't be a massive club like United and just be taking these poundings and these beatings and then squeak out a loss is what it feels like. People are like, we squeaked out a better loss than it could have been. Okay, well, it's an oxymoron there that feels good, but not as it feels. Wait, we lost.
Well, you just got to get out of the group stage, though. Here's the thing: is like now your goal difference comes into play here, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Getting 3 there was massive,
Huge.
and you like I said, you take a lot of the positives out of it. It's just, Galatasaray and actually, but nothing's guaranteed. It's like Alex was saying, we have to go and see how we do against Burnley, and that's going to be similar. That's going to be the Galatasaray of the Premier League for us. We're going to have to see how it all progresses.
Arsenal's group, Ben, I want to get your opinion on that game, but I got a question for you. This was a question asked on a Tottenham podcast, the opposite of this. Would you take Tottenham this year pulling an Invincibles, not losing once and winning the league if Arsenal won the Champions League? And so that means that whole Invincibles thing, it's gone. Tottenham did it. They did the same as you, but you get Champions League. So you can never talk shit about your Invincible season again to a Spurs fan, but you got a Champions League. Would you take that?
No, I don't think I would. No.
I wouldn't take it either. Fuck that.
No. And again, like every other Arsenal fan will say, like Thierry Henry, a great player, right? Not my absolute favorite player. I think even, there were so many players to choose from at that time. That's just something that Arsenal always have, right?
Yeah.
And I hate when teams are always bringing up their past because it's all about the last game you played, in my opinion.
Like United fans.
But the Invincibles, I mean, it's just something absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't take it either, just because, it's just, the banter's gone there. But yeah, I mean, your group is, to be honest, a Europa League group. That's a pretty sweet group that you're in right now. I think you'll smash it. I mean, what'd you think of that game yesterday? It didn't seem like it was too
Let's
tough.
give some credit to PSV, first of all. They're undefeated so far in league play. They're on top of the league right now. And so in 4 or 5 games that they've played, they've not lost a single game.
Against Dutch Farmers. Actually, that's surprising.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so PSV, I mean, granted, it's the Emirates, and they've got a pretty good record against Dutch teams at the Emirates. But PSV was not a pushover here, right? They're top of the league. Ajax is in like 11th right now. So
not sure if I'm happy about hearing about that. I thought PSV was just some shitty bunch of Dutch farmers. So shit.
And I think that's a huge confidence builder for a lot of the players on the team. Fabio Vieira, especially. That guy was, I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I was not a huge fan of his to begin the season because the end of the last season was not great. He did not do much for us to carry out the rest of the season. But this year, he's been involved with a lot of assists. He's been involved with a lot of plays. So this is a game for me, a confidence builder for all the players that do need to perform. Odegaard, Trossard, Saka, all scored. And then, Fabio Vieira, those types of players. Declan Rice, those types of players. Those are players that, even Havertz gained some confidence, even though he had some chances that he botched. So
I was really hoping you would lose that game so that you were not on a high coming into it, because that Everton win was still a win, but it was a little bit underwhelming because Everton are maybe the shittest team in England after Luton. All right, well, let's talk about Spurs in the Champions League.
Those have become the harder teams, though, is all I was going to say.
Yeah. Next year will be.
You say Spurs in the Champions League?
Yeah, we play next year. We'll be in the tournament.
Yeah.
Get closer to the mic.
Next year. Anyways, stoked for North London Derby. I think that'll do it. Yeah, appreciate you, Ben, coming on the pod. Can't wait to watch this 4-2 victory. And that's Prem Pals.
Yeah, good luck, lads, man. Get out there, battle it out. It's gonna be a fun watch. I can't wait to get up there, get up early and watch maybe just the highlights. We'll see.
Cheers. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah, and thanks for watching. If you're watching, don't forget to smash a like, share, and subscribe. All right, up the Coys and the Gooners, I guess.
Up the Coys. Bye.